as we continue with the history of wrestling. Hopefully, in this part, I will review WCW Super Brawl 1994. My rating was a lot different from the cage match rating. I thought the show was a fucking classic. I loved it, especially the match between William Regal and who the fuck, you know. God, I smoke. God, it's the weed or something. Who the fuck did William Regal face? I'll tell you anyway, what the fuck. Yeah. Fuck it, I'm new to this shit. Anyway, we'll get on with the history of wrestling, and we'll go to the Observer. Is the Observer Awards for 1996. This is in 1997, though, when this got published. Because it ended on 96. So it's the start of 97 I'm up to still. So Observer's top 10 wrestlers of 96. Number 1, Kenya Kobasha. Kobasha or Kabashi. Kenya? Is he from Kenya and he's Japanese and Kenyan? He's like a mutt. Half-breed. I don't know. Never heard of Kenya Kobashi. I've not watched very much I've not watched Japanese wrestling. The only Japanese wrestling that I've watched was Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk death match on FMW. I've heard that was a great promotion. That was like FMW in Japan. He was owned by Onata. Onata. He's supposed to be a Zen Buddhist from the island of Fuji, and yeah, that show FMW in Japan was like ECW on motherfucking steroids. Like, it was it was fucking an extreme version of ECW. I mean, them deathmatch between Terry Funk and Cactus Jack. I think it was 95, 94, 95. Some of the most fucked up shit I've ever seen. But, in AEW try and do that, but the difference is that Foley and Terry Funk knew how to work. And they had personality and knew how to tell stories. And most wrestlers in AEW don't know how to, in my humble opinion. Right, so, yeah, Dave Meltzer's very high on his Japanese. I mean, no, I have a lot of respect for Japanese culture. I love the Japanese culture. The whole Zen feeling to Japan. I really want to go to Japan. I watch it sometimes, when I wake up in the morning, I watch this channel, to get my head together, because I wake up in the morning and I'll feel a bit angry sometimes, and I have to take my pills, like my Ritalin and shit, just to get, just to get my head clear. So first hour I'll like meditate, and then I'll watch a fucking walk. Do you know like one of them 4K walks on motherfucking YouTube, this guy just walks through random places in Japan. It's fucking mint. And it's like, I don't even have to go out. Yeah, I'll fucking want to go to Japan, obviously. I hate virtual shit. You know what I mean? I want to experience it. But it's nice, to wake up every morning and watch. For the first hour, first hour you need to get yourself together, or I do anyway. I need an hour. Every morning I need a fucking hour, just to get my bearings, or just be an angry motherfucker all day. Or anxious or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to go to Japan. Anyway, back to the list. Shawn Michaels got number 2. I would have gave him number 1 in 96. I did earlier on. I gave him number 1. He should be number 1. I mean, especially if it's American, because mostly people that are listening to The Observer or whatever news wrestling, most of them are not going to watch Japan wrestling. I think Dave Meltzer's a very rare breed of human beings that watches Japan wrestling that's not from Japan. First of all, it's hard to get it. I know you can get all the old matches on YouTube, but it's like that Ring of Honor shit. It's like you got to pay like 25 quid a month on the app fight for it. It's like, fuck off. For some fucking little fucking flea market promotion. What the fuck are you talking about? Because that's what it is. I mean, I don't know much about Ring of Honor, but, all these little promotions, there were small promotions from, the late 1980s and onwards, after Vince took over the territories. All you had really was small promotion. And I'll tell you, just 2 small promotions really made an impact, in my opinion. When, Vince did his major takeover, then he battled with WCW. Obviously, the obvious one is ECW. And the next one, I think, not because I've got an hard-on for Jim Cornette. It's just that I liked what he did, especially in 1994 with Smoky Mountain, when he had Jericho and Lance Storm tag team up, and he had the gangsters come in, he had the Rock and Roll Express, he had the Dirty White Boy, he had, Tammy was doing good work over there, Sonny from WWF and all that shit. But yeah, I'd put Shawn Michaels at number 1 in 1996. I mean, he won a great fucking match at WrestleMania, and he carried, I know the company was dying. Well, not dying, but, it was at its worst in 95 and 96. Them 2 years after Vince's steroid trial and the new generation, and they're not really catching on to the, the hip stuff that ECW were doing now, and by 96 WCW were doing. They were still stuck in the kind of old ways, but they didn't have their old superheroes really because they didn't have no big motherfuckers on the steroids. So they had to go with like the smaller guys like Brett, Shawn, and that was good, but they did. I don't know, man. The show really started getting better in 97. That was the beginning of the Attitude Era to me, was SummerSlam 97. And I'd say from like leading up to WrestleMania 13, WWF started getting more edgier. And gradually it started getting more edgier and edgier and edgier until, the Montreal Screwjob. And then Vince turning into Vince McMahon. Anyway, number 3, Mitsubishi Misawa. Mitsubishi is a fucking car, innit? Mitsubishi is a fucking car fucking shit. So, it's a fucking car. It's a fucking brand of a car, like a Ford or a Renault. So is this guy a car? Is he a Japanese car? No, Mitsubishi was made in Japan. Does he drive a Mitsubishi to the ring? Does he wrestle like a fast Mitsubishi style, like fast-paced fucking driving shit? Fuck, I've never heard of the guy, but number 3 is Mitsubishi Michelle. Some motherfucker. Well, maybe Dave Meltzer can have corrected all my fucking grammar mistakes on this one. Number 4, we got the Manama Toyota, another fucking car. A Toyota and a Mitsubishi. Fucking hell, this is not wrestlers. Wrestlers supposed to be human beings, not fucking cars. But there's another Japanese one. Number 5, Rey Mysterio Jr. Yeah, his breakout year was 96. He had them matches with Malenko, Yeah, he had some classics with Malenko. I think it was the same pay-per-view that Hogan turned heel, Bash at the Beach. I think, and Great American Bash. He had 2 classic matches that I'm aware of that year. Probably had a fucking lot more. But yeah, Rey Mysterio Jr., I think, really broke out into mainstream America in 96. So he's up there. And again, number 6, Shina Hashimoto. I've never heard of him. Yeah, he's probably massive in Japan, but, I've never heard. I'm not being ignorant, but I just never heard of these motherfuckers. Number 7, Mark Coleman. I've heard of him. Isn't he a fucking weightlifter or a MMA fighter? I'm not sure which one. But I've heard. That name rings a bell. I don't know why he would. I've never known Mark Coleman to be a wrestler. I don't know. Number 8, Nobuhiko Takada. Nabukio Takada. Some ancient samurai warrior. That name rings a bell. There's some ancient samurai book I was reading about the great Yoshimoto, who went around in a horse, jumping from ridge to ridge. One-man army, just fucking killed a bunch of fucking other samurais to take the samurai crown back in, the 9th century. It's called Samurai Rising. I remember reading that book, and I remember Maybe he takes after the great samurai warrior of Takada, because I know Takada defeated Yoshimoto, and he cut his head off, and then he went through a crowd of about 50,000 people, and he was on a mountain, and then he got his fucking head out of a chest and said, "I got Yoshimoto, me, Takada Ring Supreme over Japan. I am not a new samurai lord." So he could be taken after that. Number 9, Dan Severn. Fuck. Dan Severn in wrestling then. I thought he came in 98 or something, didn't he, But, he didn't make an impact at all, Dan Severn. I mean, if you wanted a UFC fighter, you had Ken Shamrock. He's the one who made an impact. I mean, Dan Severn, I don't know. I'm not disrespecting Dan Severn. I've actually read Dan Severn's book. He's actually from a farm. He's a farm boy. From down south, down farm boy. He used to chicken heads and pluck the cows and pluck the peacocks. Peacock just numbered his cock off. But yeah, Dan Severn, he's legit. I think he was UFC champion at once. I don't know if he beat Ken Shamrock in UFC. I know they had a fight, and I knew that was why. I think one of the main reasons why they brought him into WWF in '98 was to do a program with Kenny. And that would have been good. I don't think they did a real program together. I think they had a match though. I think. No, they didn't. King of the Ring '98. No, they was going to, but no. Rocky beat him in the semi-finals. Rocky Maivia, The Rock, and faced Shamrock, and Shamrock won that one. Yeah, so I never seen them face off with each other. But that was the big match. They were building up to a big match between them two. I don't know if it was going to be a shoot fight or whatever, but that surprises me that Dan Severn. I mean, what did he fucking do in '96? Unless, because I know Meltzer likes to put his hand in the cookie jar in fucking UFC, which he knows fuck all about. I know a lot more about MMA than you fucking Meltzer. Do you know why I know more? Because I've fucking done it. No, I didn't. I weren't a professional. No, but I trained for fucking 10 years and trained when I was a fucking kid. I know what it's like to get trained for fucking 2 hours straight, get fucking choked to death on the fucking ground, get your head smashed in on a weekly basis. I know what it's like. I weren't the best, but I weren't the fucking worst either. I could handle myself. I weren't the best. I weren't elite like some of the guys who I trained with. I went to Fighting Fit Gym in Manchester. I went to Predators in Manchester, and I went to this fucking one in Newton Heath, right? And other ones like Knuckles Muay Thai. People around Manchester will know. They don't remember me. I was mid. I would say I was mid. Because what it was with me is I'd never be consistent with things. there'd always be something that came up that was very stressful in my life, and I'd leave it. I'd forget all about it. Like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to go in MMA. Oh no, but I've got to deal with this shit. Like last year, I left MMA, November last year, because I went back for about 6 months. Because I left MMA before I didn't leave MMA. The pandemic basically stopped, and then I started using a bit of drugs again. And then I went back last year. But then at the end of the year, I was like, I don't know, I'm just getting punched in the face every fucking 3 times a week. I just thought to myself, I may as well just stick to the bag, because I'm in my 30s now and I'm not know so much about CTE, and this MMA class that I was going to would just be straight sparring for an hour, or 2 hours. You wouldn't really learn many techniques. You would if you was new there, but if you went there for a while, they just they put you with anyone and you spar. And I'm telling you, man, the fucking weakest ones in there were muscly guys, big jacked up guys, man, because they could not move. Because they were that jacked up. It was fucking hard to move. I was surprised that I was able to fucking beat these guys, because I had speed. I'd just be good with some, sneaky with my hands, and I never like wrestling on the ground. I'm very simple when it comes to wrestling. All I'll do in wrestling is grab you and fucking put you in a headlock and choke you. Or some shit. But not wrestling, it's jiu-jitsu. I never liked jiu-jitsu. I think it's too complicated for my pea brain. But stand-up I fucking love. The Justin Gaethje shit, the slang and bang I fucking love. But at the end of the day, my brain anyway is not really normal. So I don't want to be by I'm 40, you know. And it'd be for no reason, because I've never made it pro. I've never even had an amateur fight, you know. I've just sparred. So what I'm saying is, I know I'm going off fucking topic, you know, but what I'm saying is I know a lot more than Dave Meltzer does about MMA. So, you know, I think you should put your hand out that cookie jar, Dave Meltzer, and leave it to the pros like, you know, Ariel Helwani and other, you know, DC, Daniel Cormier, you know. That's all I'm saying. I mean, yeah, you covered it, but you don't know fuck all about it. You've probably never been in a fight in your life, so there you go. Number 10, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'd put him at number 2. Stone Cold Steve Austin was the breakout star of 96, the best heel in 96. Such a fucking good heel that he became the biggest babyface ever. And that year was very important. Without that year, he wouldn't have gone into 97 so hot. Because I'm telling you, 1997, that was Austin's year. Yeah, Brett did the whole Canadian thing and all that shit, you know. But Austin, that was Austin's year. The crowd, everything. No matter how good WCW were doing, Austin was the guy in wrestling. From 97 onwards. In my opinion. And to put him number 10 below Dan Severn and all these Japanese guys, even below Rey Mysterio, I'm like, nah, man. Austin in 96 was the breakout star. You know, like 98 was The Rock. That was his breakout year. Austin's breakout year was 96. Right, now we'll go to the past Observer Awards Wrestler of the Year. We only go up to 95 this list. So 1980, we've got Harley Race wins the Wrestler of the Year in 1980. From 1981 to 1986, 6 times in a row. Woo! The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. The crazy motherfucker who smashes pizzas over people's heads and drinks himself to death and wants to die in the ring and has a great fucking energy drink that everyone should buy called Woo Energy Drink. And I think he sells a bit of weed as well, Ric Flair. But yeah, Ric Flair, I'm not going to comment on Ric Flair, you know. I find it hilarious, to be honest. His antics, I keep hearing him, it's very comedic. The only thing is, I just think he's a bit off his fucking head that he wants to die in the ring, because I believe, Dutch said this a lot, and I believe him. I think Ric Flair does want to die in the ring. Because I'm telling you, Ric Flair was the hardest working wrestler of all time, in my opinion. His travel, I've read his book and his stories. His travel was fucking off the wall. He never had a day off, I don't think. At a certain point in the career, probably during the 80s, Ric Flair was fucking everywhere. Traveling from Japan, South Africa, to the Fuji Islands, he even went to North fucking Korea with Scott Norton and the Steiners. You know, he's been everywhere, Flair, you know. So you can say what you want, man, but Flair in his fucking heyday, man, he was the hardest working wrestler, and yeah, he was the best. You know, a lot of people call Flair the greatest of all time. Austin calls Flair the greatest of all time. To me, Ric Flair was the first ever wrestler that I knew, basically, because my first ever wrestling event that I ever watched was when I was about 4 or 5 years old. It was the 1992 Royal Rumble. And I didn't know who was going to win, but I wanted Ric Flair to win. And he got beat up all that match. And you remember that Royal Rumble was one of the best Royal Rumbles of all time. It had a fucking star-studded roster in that Rumble. You know, you had Hogan, you had Sid, you had Taker, you had Jake the Snake, the Macho Man, Roddy Piper, the British Bulldog, and so many others. You know? And Ric Flair, though, was the guy I wanted to win, and he did. And I was like, I barely heard of Hogan, but yeah, in that era, Ric Flair was my guy. And I stopped watching wrestling. Well, I didn't stop, but I just forgot all about wrestling because it went through a down period. Next time that wrestling was on, I think it was either the 2000 Royal Rumble with the street fight between Cactus Jack and Triple H. When I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? This is totally different from the Royal Rumble match that's in 92. This is all blood and all that shit. You remember the classic street fight between Cactus and Triple H. And then I started religiously between 1999 and 2001 watching wrestling every week. That's when I watched it every week, when the Attitude Era was on. So, yeah, Ric Flair in the 80s was the wrestlers' fucking goal. Obviously, in 1985, I'd probably have to say Hogan in 85 and 86 and 87. Because, Hogan did record shit. No one ever outsold Hogan in the 80s. I mean, for business, Hogan. And Hogan could wrestle, back then. No, he weren't the best. Either was Roman Reigns or Cena. I mean, people say that about Austin, but Austin was a good wrestler. Come on. Haven't you seen some of Austin's matches with Kurt Angle and fucking Benoit and with Triple H? You just watch their matches and you can tell that motherfucker can go. If that motherfucker wants to go, he can go. Believe me. So Ric Flair from 1981, 6 years in a row, to 1986. And 1987 is a Japanese guy called Riki Choshu. So any wrestling fan would have heard of him. I've never heard of him. And another fucking car. In 1988, we got another fucking car brand. Akita Mazda. A fucking Mazda now, eh? Fucking hell, Dave Meltzer loves his car wrestlers. Was he the fucking mechanic to get him fucking going? To have a 5-star fucking match for him. Make sure the fucking turbo and the diesel engine's on so they fucking keep up to pace, Anyway, that was a horrible, terrible joke. That wasn't even a joke. That was just fucking horrible. What am I doing? Anyway, 1988, yeah, Akita Mazda. 1989 and 1990, again, Ric Flair is the winner. So that's basically between 1981 and 1990, Ric Flair won 8 times. Obviously, some of them times I'd probably put Hogan, especially in 87 when he faced Andre at WrestleMania 3. And 85 when the first WrestleMania, because Hogan was kind of responsible for that. I mean, Vince was ultimately, but Hogan was the guy. You know what I mean? 1991, Jumbo Tazaruta. I don't know if I've pronounced that right. 92, Ric Flair. Yeah, that was the year of the Rumble. That was the year that he went to WWF. He made an impact that year. And he had a great match with the Macho Man at WrestleMania that year. 1993, Vader. Yeah, Vader was great. One of the best big man wrestlers of all time is Vader. I would say after Taker and Kane, Vader is my number 3 big man wrestler of all time. And 94 is Toshihiro Kawada. 95 is Misabuto Misawa again, the other guy. Right, most outstanding in-ring wrestler of 96, Observer. Number 1, Rey Mysterio Jr. Probably agree with that. Number 2, the Toyota man, Manami. And then we got the Kenya man, the Mutt, the Japanese Kenya Mutt, the Kenyan Kobashi at number 3. And at number 4, we got the Rabid Wolverine, Chris Benoit. Yeah. Number 5, Shinjito Itami. Did I pronounce that right? I think I did, But I've never heard of him. Number 6, Shawn Michaels. Oh, no, I put Shawn Michaels at number 1. To be honest. Because he was an in-ring guy. Even though he had a ton of charisma, he was fucking legendary in-ring. And now number 7, we got the Mishawato guy again. That one of Dave Meltzer's favourite cars, Japanese cars, the Michibutu Misawa guy at number 7. Number 8, Dean Malenko. Yeah, he's definitely in the top 10 in 96. He had some good matches with Rey Mysterio Jr., Number 9, Ultimo Dragon. Yeah. He was about in 96 in WCW, I remember, yeah. He was good. And then we got Toshikiwi Kawawada. Toshikiwi Kawawada. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. God damn it, we are on a dirt road, aren't we? Bloody stuck on one today. God damn this place. Right. Most outstanding babyface, top 10, 1996. Number 1, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Yeah and no, because throughout his run as a babyface champion, people was booing him, especially in that match he had at Madison Square Garden against Sid. You know. Then you've got the Hitman Hart, Bret the Hitman Hart. He wasn't about much though in 96, was he? Because he left that Mania to do a movie or something. Then he was supposed to have gone to WCW. Then he came back and started feuding with Austin, later on that year. Number 3, Perro Aguirre. Is he I don't know if he's a Japanese wrestler, a Mexican wrestler, or Puerto Rican. Number 4, The Undertaker. Oh, I'm very sorry. I am so sorry. I owe everybody a spliff. If I do that again, then if anyone listens to this, I will send you a nice joint if I ever do something that disgusting on air again, because believe me, if I ran this country, I'd put people in jail for burping and farting. I hate it. Okay? Just to let you know. Anyway, number 5, the Sandman. Yeah, a lot of the ECW crowd had fucking sympathy for the Sandman. Think about it. Raven fucking hypnotized his kid. I think his kid was about 5 or 6. And what were we on, 96? So his kid would have been about a year or so older than me at the time. And I would have been scared out of my fucking head, man, at that age. Like, going to wrestling and have some complete stranger like Raven fucking, take me away, even though I've never had a dad. I'm just, it's fucking traumatic. Like, take me away from my grandma or my mum, it's like, what? That was a fucking very personal storyline. And the Sandman is known for just not giving a fuck. Just drink a load of fucking beer, smash a fucking Singapore cane over your fucking head, bleed, fucking get the fucking shit kicked out of him, then fucking laugh and have some more beers at the fucking bar later. And that's basically the Sandman, But he showed his human side, well, not the human side, I'm going to say human side, I'll say his side with his kind of more, compassionate side to him that no one kind of knew he had. I mean, I didn't even know he had a kid or a wife, But, Raven, one of the greatest psychologists in wrestling history, in my opinion. Yeah, Raven just fucking knew how to work that to give the crowd so much sympathy for the Sandman. Even the ECW fans, like the most unsympathetic motherfuckers crowd that you'll ever see. Well, them and the crowd in Puerto Rico, because they were wild. They would fucking kill you there, But yeah, ECW crowd, to get sympathy from ECW crowd, you had to, as a babyface, you had to be doing something really fucking right. So Sandman, that year with his feud with Raven had to do something seriously right. Number 6, it's the car again, Mishibuto Masawa. And then number 7, Negro Cassius. I don't know, what is he naming himself because after Cassius Clay? And obviously Cassius changed his name because he thought that was a slave name to Muhammad Ali, Anyway, I don't fucking know who the fuck that is, Number 8 is again, Kenta Kobashi. I need to check this Kenta Kobashi out because he's turning up on loads of these lists. See what the big fucking deal is about these Japanese wrestlers. Number 9, Riki Chop Suey. No, Chop Suey. Ricky Choshu. Sorry, Ricky. I know you'll never listen to this, but I'm sorry I pronounced your name wrong. I do have ADHD and Asperger's, so I sometimes do not pronounce things in the correct way that so-called normal dick-sucking, dick-rider fucking guy would do. You know, the normal guys who like to show off and think, look at me, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, look at me, I'm so this, I'm so that. No, you're not, you're just a fucking muppet, mate. Shut the fuck up. Be with a real bitch. You haven't been through shit, motherfucker. Like I have. You know what I mean? I'm not here to fucking, but you know what's up. I know what's up. And the world will know what's up when you come to a guy like me. Because there's nothing fake about me. And I mean that not in a hard, tough way. I mean that there's nothing, I'm not a fucking not one of these geekish wrestling marks. I'm this fucking guy that you see on the street every day, you're like, yeah, there he is. He's a fucking crazy bastard. But now I keep myself to myself. Anyway, fuck, I'm going on a tangent here. Anyway, right, the previous winners of the best babyface of the year. 1980, we got Dusty. Dusty. Hard times, baby. Hard times. But 1980, hard times. Turning a good time for Dusty. I have to study 1980. And then we got 1981, the Wrestler's Wrestler, the Southern boy himself, the big daddy boy, Tommy Rich. Got 1981. Oh, fucking hell. 1982, all the way to 91. Hogan. I can't disagree with that, because it was Hulkamania, that whole decade, so I'd have put Hogan at number one. Not number one, what the fuck? No, yeah, he was at number one. What the fuck what the fuck am I going on about? 1982 to 1991, Hulk Hogan was the guy. Biggest babyface. And I've got to agree with that. 1992, it went to Sting. Sting was a big deal in WCW. He was him and Goldberg were the best homegrown WCW stars. And Lex was up there as well, because I always liked Lex. But yes, Sting and fucking Goldberg were WCW homegrown. They never went to WWF. They're the wrestlers that made it to like big superstar Hulk Hogan, Austin Rock level without going to WWF. You know what I mean? So that's out to Sting and Goldberg. 1993 and 1994 was Onita. Now, I've heard of Onita because he's the guy who ran FMW. If it's the same guy, then I'll probably agree with that, because American wrestling was in the fucking sewer from 93 to 1996. And that business was at an all-time low. Both companies. I mean, you had Jim Herd doing his bullshit at WCW, then I think Bill Watts rubbed a lot of people the wrong way by wanting everyone to do the old shit in WCW, not getting with the times. ECW is kind of in its infancy. I mean, wrestling was at an all-time low. The best thing about wrestling to me at that period was Smoky Mountain and ECW. And 95, Pero Aguilar. Right, best heel 1996. You better have this guy on fucking top. Otherwise, I'm going to kidnap you, Dave Meltzer. I'm going to fucking bury you. Bury you in the fucking Hudson River where millions of people have been buried. And you won't be missed because you'll just be part of everyone else that's been fucking chucked there. Think about how many fucking people have been tossed in the Hudson River. And the fucking all of them. Have you heard of Roy DeMeo? And, the Iceman and fucking all the mafia guys, all the gang killings in New York in the 80s and shit. How many bodies were dumped there? I've just read. Oh, fucking hell, man. Telling you. Jimmy Hoffa might be down in that motherfucker. Probably is. That's why no one's ever found his body. Better he dumped Jimmy Hoffa in the obvious place. I don't know. Nobody come and kill me for that. But if I'm right, nobody come and kill me for revealing where Jimmy Hoffa was buried. So I don't want no fucking old mafia type guy like Michael Franzese or Sammy the Bull Gravano fucking ordering a hit out on me. Because I support you, especially Sammy. You know, Michael Franzese is a... I'm not going to say anything bad about him. I just think recently, he just... It's not like I disagree with him. It's just that he just goes on about politics too much. It just puts me off. I just liked it when his shows were about, you know, that mob movie Monday and is the way, you know, the inner workings of the mafia. But now he's just like, I don't know. He's a bit too hardcore on one side of the political spectrum, in my opinion. He does make valid points, but, you know, I don't know. It's just, you know, people put me off when they talk about politics, to be honest. I'm sorry I'm going on another tangent. The best heel in 1996. Right, here we go. Yes, you have saved your own fucking life, Meltzer. Stone Cold Steve Austin. By far. By what Donald Trump would say, a landslide. Because Trump, like him or not, won a landslide victory in last year's election because of the woke bullshit. It's the only reason why Trump is in office is because of all the bullshit woke shit that nearly destroyed the world. You know? And that's true, you know. No way am I a right-wing guy or left-wing guy. You know, if I was anything, back in the day, I'd move more to the left back in the day because they were liberal. They were a lot more liberal. Now they're fucking communists. And I fucking hate communists. You know, I fucking hate them. Just as bad as capitalists, communists, I hate. If I had my way, I'd fucking put them in concentration camps. Capitalists and communists. And I don't give a fuck if you put me off fucking YouTube for this shit. Free speech, motherfucker. And that's why I kind of like Trump being in office. Because, yeah, you get free speech. If you don't like what I say, fuck off. Suck my fucking dick, yeah? Right. Anyway, number 2 is Masahiro Chono. Got it. Another Japanese guy. Number 3, Shane the Franchise Douglas. Yeah, he was a fucking great heel in ECW. When he did that fucking belt thing and he went that promo on Flair. Yeah, he was fucking great because he was like, he thought he was better than everyone else, which he was, kind of, in a conceptual manner. You know, because he was like, he weren't like one of the misfits. He was more, you know, clean cut, but a very great wrestler and just could rile them ECW fans on fucking over the top. And Shane Douglas, man, I don't know why WWF didn't do anything with him to give him that stupid teacher's gimmick and fucking ruined him. Shane Douglas was fucking great, man. Hats out to Shane Douglas, man. One of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. You know? Yeah, he's a legend. He's a fucking legend, Shane Douglas. More respect for Shane Douglas. Should have Shane Douglas Appreciation Day. Maybe I'm going too far about that. And that would even put Shane Douglas off. He was like, you want my ass that much? You really want to suck my dick? Is that what it is? Are you dick riding me so much? I'm like, no, I'm just saying that people tend to forget that you was a major force into making ECW what it was. Because he was. He was there at the start. I mean, it was him, Terry Funk, and Sandman. That were the original guys. Then Sabu and Raven came along, New Jack and all that, you know. Number 4, Hulk Hogan. Fuck. How can that be at number 4, man? No, Austin ain't at number 1. No. Sorry, I've totally forgot about Hogan, because that was the year of his heel turn. It was in 96. Nah, you got to put Hogan number 1. Even though Austin was fucking great. But the crowds were liking Austin, though. For, you know, not straight after King of the Ring, but gradually they were. By Survivor Series 96, if you watch the crowd in when he was facing Brett for the first time, they were on Austin's side. Well, half of them were. You know, they were. And that's why they turned him babyface with the best double turn in history at WrestleMania 13. And one of the greatest matches in history. Because, Brett was complaining, his white meat babyface, that shit was getting old, times were changing in wrestling, it was coming more reality based, less of them fucking family orientated superhero gimmicks, But Hogan, man, people say that's the best heel turn ever, which they might be right about that. But, yeah, man, Hogan in 96, even before the heel turn, people fucking hated Hogan. They were begging, he had to turn heel, in my opinion. And it was a great fucking move for wrestling, for WCW. That fucking move, that heel turn with Hogan, nearly put WWF out of business. So how can you put him at number 4 for a heel? I mean, take your personal feelings aside about Hulk Hogan, okay? Just watch it, separate the person from the entertainer, You've got to put him at number 1. Number 5, Taz. Was he a heel in 96? Oh, yeah, he was, wasn't he? Because he was with Fonzie. The whistleblower. Yeah. He fucking annoyed me at first, Fonzie, but so after a while, it was just fucking hilarious, to be honest, Number 6, Mankind. Another one that should be higher up, in my opinion. I'd say Mankind should be at number 3. It should be Hogan, Austin, then Mankind. Because that year was Mankind's. I wouldn't say Mick Foley's. I wouldn't say his breakout year because, he did a good work before then. He was established star before then as Cactus Jack. But, he never really made it big in a mainstream company. That year, he fucking did. He feuded with one of the top guys. He had a fucking top guys being The Undertaker. And Mankind, before Kane, was the first person to actually give Taker, who was this indestructible fucking mystical fucking, phenom, basically. No one could fuck with The Undertaker. He was that scary. No one wanted to fuck with The Undertaker. No one, he no-sold everything. You could not scare or phase The Undertaker. Mankind did. And he took Paul Bearer from The Undertaker and they had some fucking banging matches. And for someone to, because Undertaker was like a real babyface that year. And that was mainly because he had a great deranged heel that was a lot more deranged than The Undertaker. Because The Undertaker, his career at the start, yeah, he was scary to kids, but it was still gimmicky a bit, you know what I mean? The Undertaker is one of the best of all time, so I'm not talking down anything The Undertaker did in his career. Since day one, Undertaker was the top guy. What I'm saying is, because of the business at the time, they couldn't really, put the Undertaker's character towards adults. But that Mankind, that feud he had with Mankind basically boosted the Undertaker into the new era, the Attitude Era. Because then, the Undertaker did the Ministry of Darkness shit and all that. And that fucking scared adults. Because it was very realistic. He was like a fucking mad fucking cult leader kind of motherfucker. But what I'm saying is, Mankind, that feud with Mankind, I think changed the Undertaker's character a lot. And, because I don't know what had happened to the Undertaker if he had not changed with the times. And it weren't the American Badass, because he weren't the American Badass that changed with the times. He did that before with the Ministry of Darkness and the feud with Kane, in my opinion. Obviously, yeah, because wrestling was past gimmicky stages and Undertaker was kind of gimmicky, had to kind of take time off and turn into the badass. And what I'm saying is, it boosted the Undertaker, that feud with Mankind, because then Undertaker went on to do some great things with Kane and the Ministry of Darkness and all that. So, Mankind was very influential year for Mankind. Definitely one of the top guys in the WWF. Match that he had with Shawn Michaels at Mind Games, one of my favourite matches of all time. And that's how you work a match. So yeah, Mankind is number 6. Number 7, Big Daddy Cool, Kevin Nash. Yeah, definitely Kevin Nash. He was part of the original NWO. He's one who powerbombed Bischoff through the table. I mean, I'd have put, where's Scott? Scott Hall's not on this list. Don't know why. I mean, kept both Kevin and Scott. Great talent. People say what they want about Kevin Nash. I've always liked Kevin Nash. I like, people always say, listen to a podcast, say he's like better and all that. But, and he fucking lost his own kid. Like, come on, man. I'd probably be bitter as fuck. You know what I mean? Well, no, I think he's right, me. I've heard him in interviews. He's just like a smooth talking guy. Obviously, I wouldn't like to be on his bad side because he's a fucking 7'2" guy. And yeah, Kevin Nash back in the day could fucking handle himself, man. He was in fucking, what I've heard, he was in over nearly 1,000 bar fights, which most of them he won. So yeah, man, Kevin Nash was a hand back in the day. Yogi, number 8, it was Yogi Anjo. Yogi, and he must be a mystical Hindu yogi. Must know the Sadhguru or something. Or Ramana Maharshi or some shit like that. You know who Ramana Maharshi is? The sage, if anyone. Well, say Muji. Anyone knows who Muji Baba? Muji Baba, who gets, the Jamaican guy, Muji Baba. He's like an offshoot to Ramana Maharshi, one of the most enlightened sage, Hindu sages of the 20th century. So this guy was Indian yogi, I think. Number 9, Raven. Fucking hell again. God. Fucking remove these Japanese people because I've not fucking heard of them. I'll put Raven behind Mankind. So what I'd do is I'd say number 1 would be Hulk. Number 2 would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Number 3 would be Mankind. Number 4 would be Raven. And number 5 would be Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Because Raven, 95, 96. How hard was it to be a fucking heel in ECW? With them smart mark fans, How hard was it? Raven worked them. The smartest smart marks who thought they could see through all the inside working in wrestling. Raven fucking worked them. He worked their crowd. They didn't know whether he was going to win, lose, and they actually hated Raven. As much as they wanted to like him, Raven just cut him off and made people hate him. He's part of that movement at the time, the grunge fucking movement, that the shit that was coming out at the time, like Korn, the band Korn was out at that time. I don't know if he was a Korn fan, but, fucking Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, all that shit, Raven represented the fucking hip of, the 90s. That whole MTV hard rock grunge scene. Number 10, Ric Flair. 96 Ric Flair. I can't really remember much about what Ric Flair did in 96. So I don't know. But yeah, I just said my top 5 there. The only people that I have issue with on this list is the 2 Japanese guys. Because I've never fucking heard of them. You know what I mean? You putting a letter out to an American audience or a British audience or whoever. People haven't heard of these. Sorry, they haven't. You shouldn't have got fucking time in my life to be watching fucking Japanese wrestling. Fucking 2 hours a week is too much for me to watch wrestling. Anyway, we'll go through the previous winners. I'm gonna have to review Super Brawl next week. I've just got so much written down, and yeah, I'm gonna have to review that next week because I don't want this shit going on for too long. So I'm going to review that next week. I don't want shit to drag on. You know how Raw and SmackDown drags on for 3 hours and shit. Just want to be short and sweet. Previous winners. This is my last segment now. 1980, Larry Zbyszko, yeah, great back in the day. 1981, Don Morocco, yeah, he had the match with Jimmy Fly Snooker. Number 82, Bud Sawyer, yeah, he's the one who ripped off the Undertaker. Undertaker wanted to fucking kill him, that guy, yeah. 1983, Michael Hayes. Fucking hell, every time I look behind the scenes in WWE, Michael Hayes is fucking there. Like, they always mention Pritchard and Russo and Triple H and all that, but fucking Michael Hayes is always fucking there. He's fucking there all the time, isn't he? I'm like, why did they never mention Michael Hayes? I wonder what he does. I don't know what role he plays. 1984 and 1985, best heel Roddy Piper. Yeah, fucking defo. One of the greatest heels of all time. If it weren't for Roddy Piper, we might have not got Hulkamania. 1986 was, again, Michael Hayes. 1987 and 1988 was the $1 Million Man. Ted DiBiase. Yeah, fucking them heel promos that he did. Them vignettes that he did when he started out. Fucking legendary. Yeah. Number 1989. I've got to say to my pet Stinky and Haddock. I've got to feed the horses. I think he's broke his leg. I'll give her a nice cup of caramel tea and some nice harvested egg I got there in the barn. No other than the Funk Man himself, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, if not the greatest, the Funker, Terry Funk. 1990, Ric Flair. Was he here in 1990? Was that when he was feuding with Sting? 1991, The Undertaker. See what I mean? The Undertaker made a big impact when he first came in WWF. 1992, they call him the sexiest man alive, Rick Rude. I think that's what girls find sexy. Very slim, muscular. So I need to get in that shape. Anyway, 1993, you got Vader. Yeah, because he feuded with Flair and Cactus and all that. Yeah, 1994, you got the Love Machine. I don't know what the fuck that is. 95, some Masa Chono. Fucking. Anyway, that's it for the histrionics. I wish I could have done more, but sometimes I go off on a tangent. It is what it motherfucking is. I will be back with the final part. Well, not the final part. There should be an interview this weekend with the boy who's going to be hosting this show of SFS for Wrestling Down the Dirt Road. But yeah, the next thing will be just me, non-wrestling podcast, just me talking shit. So, I hope you tune in. Now, fuck off. Is that a truck out there? Is she? Oh shit, I haven't turned that off.